In the dim light of the waning moon, I, Eleanor, cautiously stepped into the decaying abyss of the abandoned asylum. It loomed over the landscape, casting an ominous shadow that sent shivers down my spine. The wind whispered eerie melodies through broken windows, and the creaking floorboards echoed with each careful step. As I ventured deeper into the forsaken building, a chilling sensation clutched at my heart. The air felt thick with unseen presences, and I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. My flashlight flickered, casting dancing shadows on the crumbling walls, adding to the unsettling atmosphere. Memories of the asylum's dark past flooded my mind. The dreadful experiments conducted on its unfortunate inhabitants. The wails of tormented souls, and the rumors of paranormal activities that plagued this desolate place. The weight of its history bore down on me like an invisible burden. A faint whisper echoed from the corridors, causing me to freeze in fear. My breath hitched as I strained to discern its source. Was it just the wind playing tricks on my mind? Or was something else lurking in the shadows, waiting to pounce on its unsuspecting prey? As I reached the top floor, a chilling draft rushed past me, carrying with it the faint smell of decay. I covered my nose and mouth, trying to push forward. The corridors were maze-like, and I found myself turning corners with trepidation, never quite sure what I would encounter next. My heart raced, and beads of cold sweat formed on my brow as a distant sound echoed through the hallways. A low, guttural moan reverberated, followed by an eerie laughter that sent shivers down my spine. Panic surged within me, urging me to flee, but morbid curiosity kept me rooted to the spot. A sudden gust of wind slammed a door shut behind me, making me jump. The echoing slam felt like a malevolent force trying to trap me inside. I fumbled to find an exit, my hands trembling as I reached for the door handle, praying that it would yield. Just as I thought all hope was lost, the door gave way, and I stumbled outside, gasping for breath. The asylum's dark presence seemed to recede as I distanced myself from its sinister embrace. A mixture of relief and terror flooded my senses as I made my escape. I vowed never to return to that haunted place, but the memories of that night continued to haunt me. The abandoned asylum's malevolent aura lingers in my mind, a constant reminder of the horrors that reside in the shadows, waiting for an unsuspecting soul to stumble into their realm. And though I survived that terrifying encounter, a part of me wonders if I truly escaped the clutches of that malevolent presence, or if it merely lies in wait for another night, another unfortunate soul to wander into its domain. It was a cold and stormy night when I, Amelia, found myself drawn to the eerie allure of Greystone Manor. The ancient building stood tall and ominous on the outskirts of town, its walls cracked and windows boarded up, telling a tale of untold horrors from the past. Curiosity got the better of me, and with a flashlight in hand, I ventured into the decaying structure. The moment I crossed the threshold, an unsettling sensation engulfed me, as if unseen eyes were watching my every move. But I pressed on, determined to uncover the secrets that lay within. As I explored the dimly lit corridors, creaking floorboards echoed through the air, and an icy draft sent shivers down my spine. The eerie silence was interrupted by faint whispers that seemed to emanate from the very walls of the manor. My heart raced as I stumbled upon an old study, its walls adorned with dusty books and strange symbols. Unbeknownst to me, I had unknowingly awakened a malevolent spirit that had been trapped within the confines of Greystone Manor for centuries. Suddenly, the doors slammed shut behind me, trapping me in the room. Panic consumed me as the walls seemed to close in, and the temperature dropped drastically. It was then that I saw a ghostly figure materializing before my eyes. Her eyes devoid of life and filled with an eternal sorrow, she spoke in a haunting whisper, recounting a tragic tale of betrayal and heartache, revealing that she was Lady Isabella, the original owner of the manor. I was drawn into her sorrowful narrative, feeling her pain as if it were my own. As the night wore on, the malevolent presence grew stronger, and I could feel its sinister intent. The walls seemed to pulse with malevolence, and the air grew thick with an unsettling aura. I knew I had to escape, but the spirits of Greystone Manor were relentless in their pursuit. With every attempt to flee, the malevolent spirits toyed with my mind, leading me in circles and distorting reality. I felt as if I were losing my grip on sanity, consumed by the darkness that engulfed the manor. In a desperate bid for freedom, I stumbled upon an old journal that contained a ritual to banish the malevolent spirits. With trembling hands, I recited the incantation, hoping to break the curse that held Greystone Manor captive. As the final words left my lips, a blinding light erupted, and the spirits wailed in agony. The ancient building trembled, and it felt as if the very fabric of time and space were being torn asunder. At last, the malevolence faded, and the ghostly presence dissipated into the night. Exhausted and shaken, I stumbled out of Greystone Manor, grateful to have escaped its clutches. The sun began to rise, casting a warm glow upon the desolate building, and I knew that the malevolent spirits had finally found peace. From that day forward, I could never forget the horrors I had witnessed within the haunted walls of Greystone Manor. It was a night that would forever be etched into my memory, a chilling reminder of the thin veil that separates the living from the dead and the dangers that lurk in the shadows of the past. As the chilling winds of winter swept through the desolate streets, I, Amelia Harrington, found myself drawn to an abandoned building on the outskirts of town. Its decrepit facade stood as a haunting reminder of forgotten days, and rumors of its dark past whispered in hushed tones among the townsfolk. One gloomy afternoon, curiosity got the better of me, and I ventured into the forsaken structure. The moment I crossed the threshold, an eerie silence engulfed the air. The creaking floorboards echoed like haunting laments of the past, and the faint glow of the fading sunlight struggled to penetrate the thick layers of grime on the windows. As I explored the dim-lit corridors, strange shadows danced on the walls, seemingly moving of their own accord. The temperature dropped, sending shivers down my spine, and I could almost hear the faint echoes of laughter and whispers that seemed to float through the freezing air. Suddenly, a gust of icy wind slammed shut the heavy doors behind me, trapping me within the building's sinister embrace. Panic set in, but I pressed on, driven by an inexplicable force that pushed me deeper into the heart of the haunted structure. Each room I entered seemed to hold a fragment of its dark history. In a forgotten study, dusty books and moldy papers told tales of madness and despair. In a decrepit ballroom, a ghostly apparition of a ballerina twirled in a never-ending dance of sorrow. The sound of distant footsteps echoed through the corridors, but every time I turned to investigate, the noise would fade away, leaving me in a state of perpetual unease. The building seemed to toy with my sanity, playing cruel tricks on my mind. I stumbled upon an old portrait gallery, where the eyes of the painted figures seemed to follow my every move. Among the haunting faces, I discovered a portrait of a woman bearing an uncanny resemblance to me. Her eyes bore an intense sadness, as if trapped in an eternal state of torment. As I contemplated the eerie likeness, a chilling voice whispered my name, sending a cold shiver down my spine. My heart raced as I searched for the source, but there was no one around. I was alone, or so I thought. The presence grew stronger, and I felt an invisible grip tightening around my throat, making it difficult to breathe. Panic surged through me, and in my desperate attempt to escape, I stumbled upon a hidden staircase leading to the building's dark basement. Down the narrow, winding steps, I ventured deeper into the abyss, guided only by my trembling instincts. The darkness enveloped me, and the air turned damp and suffocating. The oppressive weight of dread clung to my soul, and I knew I had trespassed into something beyond comprehension. In the bowels of the basement, I discovered a crypt, where a cold, lifeless body lay on an ancient stone slab. The figure bore an uncanny resemblance to me, as if I were gazing upon my own lifeless form. My heart pounded, and the horror of the situation overwhelmed me. Before I could process the ghastly sight, the apparition I had seen in the portrait materialized before my eyes, her mournful gaze locking with mine. "You've returned," she whispered, her voice laced with sorrow and longing. "You've come to set me free." Frozen with fear, I could not move, as her spectral hand reached out towards me. In that moment of terror, I understood that the building held a cursed secret. The restless spirit of a long-forgotten ancestor, bound to the place by a tragic fate. With every ounce of courage left within me, I pleaded for release, promising to uncover the truth behind her suffering and set her soul free from the eternal torment. The apparition seemed to consider my words, and her grip on my soul weakened. As the first rays of dawn broke through the basement windows, the spectral figure faded away, leaving me shaken and exhausted. I emerged from the forsaken building, forever changed by the horror I had witnessed and the responsibility I now bore. Since that fateful winter day, I have devoted myself to researching my family's history, determined to uncover the tragic tale behind the abandoned building and the tormented spirit that still lingers within its walls. The horror of that experience will forever haunt my dreams, but I carry on with the hope of finding answers and granting peace to the restless soul that shares my name.